Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Psycholegal Pop Podcast. I am Tess Brigham. I'm the therapist. My sister is not here with me right now, but she's the attorney. And we just wanted to share a preview of a true crime episode that we put out this week for our Patreon patrons. This is part of the $8 tier, and part of the $8 tier is you get the weekly bonuses that you've been hearing. If you've been listening to the other Patreon previews, you get those in addition to this monthly true crime and Ask Us Anything, which we're going to put out next week. And hope you enjoy. Thanks so much. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Patreon.
Hello, hello.
Hello. So it is our monthly Patreon exclusive true crime. And this month we are covering Amanda Knox, but in a, how do you want to describe it, Brooke?
Well, yeah, we're just talking about her in general because she has resurfaced in the cultural zeitgeist because she and Monica Lewinsky have co-executive produced this. It's a dramatization. It's not a documentary. It's I don't know what you call it, docudrama. And it's like an 8-part series. I don't even think the whole thing is even out yet.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I believe it's on Hulu. And, it's gotten good reviews, and they've been doing this press tour. I've seen them on different shows and promoting the series. And they also, they have a shared experience in that they both went through like this public vilification that was mostly tied to their sexuality and the fact that they were young women. And, they were treated horribly by pretty much everybody. And both of them have gone through the process of reclaiming their lives and their narrative and changing the narrative and letting people get to know them. Amanda Knox is now a mother of 2. She got married a few years ago. Monica Lewinsky has been on, we've been seeing her a lot more in the last several years. She's been out there a lot. And she's, trying to bring awareness to all of this and, bullying and, so we're going to talk about the Amanda Knox case, but in the context of, looking back at it and looking at how it went horribly wrong. And then talking a little bit about the juxtaposition with her and Monica. And fun fact, if you're a fan of the show, which obviously you are, our 3rd episode we ever recorded or ever released was on September 29th, 2022.
Oh, our anniversary is coming up. We got to make a note of that.
Our very first episode, which was about the Kardashians, was September 20th.
September 20th. So that's our anniversary, September 20th.
That's our anniversary officially.
Good to know.
So. But yeah, we talked about that, the Ryan Murphy, dramatization of impeachment and that whole story. And, ever since that came out, it seems like, we've all been re-examining Monica Lewinsky and re-examining how we treated her, how, all the horrible people that were involved in all of that. And I don't know, with this stuff, it's always feels like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. It's just a constant kind of, it's just constant, because that happened to Monica Lewinsky in the early 90s. And then, the Amanda Knox, it was 2007.
Yeah. I mean, Monica Lewinsky, because all of that happened during the second term, right?
Yeah.
So I want to say it was like 96, 97. So there's a 10 years apart between Lewinsky and Knox.
And well, also, the I wasn't really dialed into Amanda Knox when it was happening in real time. So, I mean, I had heard about it and, it was in the news and the, quote unquote tabloid news, whatever, here in the United States. But I think it was far worse in Italy. It was.
Oh, yeah. In Europe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some of it, obviously, everything's about when these things happen, right? You have to look at your own life and where was I and what was I doing? And Max was born at the end of 2007. So I think I didn't pay attention to this story at all. Like I'd heard this name of Amanda Knox, like I'd heard Foxy Knox, like I'd heard those things, but I never really understood what the case was. And I think that, again, this was 2007. We even see in this documentary I was watching about Amanda Knox where, she texts something to her boss and, it's like the SMS, like when you had to punch through the dials, like, had to hit A 3 times in order to get,
Right.
So it was, this was pre-social media. This was pre a lot of things. So things didn't spread the way they spread now.
Yeah. So basically, okay. So this happened in 2007. She was going to school in Washington. She's from Seattle. She was going to the University of Washington. She wanted to go do a junior year abroad. And she had actually family. Had some aunts. Her mom's side of the family was from Germany. So she was used to traveling. They would go to Germany. She had aunts who lived in Germany. She had applied to go to Germany and to Italy, but she wanted to work on, she was studying languages in college. She wanted to go to Italy because her Italian was not as good as her German. So she wanted to force herself to learn more. So she arrives, in this little town. What's it called? Perugia. And it is this real idyllic place. It's not as touristy as, like Florence. And it's just this quintessential, just beautiful, Italian town. And so she's living in a house where there's, the downstairs, I think there were 4 young men who were all Italian. And then upstairs, it was her, Meredith Kircher, who was murdered, and then 2 Italian women who were like in their 20s. They were studying to be lawyers or something. So they were a little bit older. So this is who she's living with. And she hadn't really even been there that long. Like, let's see. So she would have started, maybe like in the fall, September-ish or whatever. And this all happened, it was November 2nd was when they found.
So she'd only been there like 2 months.
Yeah. And she had just literally like 5 days before this, she had met this guy,
Raphael
Solicito. And so, they were just hanging out together, doing their thing. And so I guess it was after Halloween. So November 1st, I think she had spent the night at his house. And then the next day November 1st. So then she goes home on November 2nd. She's going to like take a shower. Well, first when she gets home, she notices that the door is like wide open. And, she doesn't understand why. And she looks around, doesn't look like anything has been taken. And, the room that Meredith was in was, the door was closed. So Amanda goes into the bathroom and she sees some blood in the sink, but it had just been Halloween. And like Meredith had this makeup on. She said that it was like this vampire makeup, and she thought maybe it was just from that, or just, it wasn't some massive amount of blood.
Yeah. Someone could have nicked themselves, like shaving their legs. It could be a million different things.
Right. So, Okay, so she, sorry, I lost my way here.
Well,
She,
there were apparently 2 bathrooms. So one bathroom she took a shower in, and then she went to the other bathroom to dry her hair. Maybe was like there wasn't an outlet in that one. And she said that when she went into that one, I guess there was she saw more blood on a bath mat on the floor. And then apparently there was like feces or poop in the
mm-hmm,
toilet that
mm-hmm.
wasn't flushed. And the thing that I watched, she said that was the moment she knew
Yeah, that was the
something
moment
was
she
off.
knew something was off. So she, okay, I think after that she called
Mm-hmm.
Rafaela, I don't know. Anyway, um, and she said, something's off, something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Can you come over here? And they discovered that Meredith's room was locked. The door was locked. And Raphael tried to break it down. He couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then at some point, she's calling Meredith's phone and there's no answer. She's starting to get worried. So then I can't remember if it was her who called the police or someone else. I kind of think it was someone else.
I think it was one of the roommates, or
Yeah,
maybe Raffaele. I mean, of all the people, she probably knew the least amount of Italian. So I don't think I don't think she was calling.
right.
But she did not discover, right? She never saw Meredith's body. Like she was
No.
wandering around that house, had no awareness of what had happened.
Yeah, someone called. Yeah, so the police show up. They do break down the door, and it was the roommate, one of the older Italian girls, Filomena.
Mm-hmm.
She was the one who saw the body, and she screamed. And at that, Amanda never saw the body, so she wasn't as shaken up,
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first thing the police thought, that she wasn't acting appropriately upset,
Yes.
because she wasn't screaming like this other woman was. And also, yeah, because Amanda didn't speak great Italian, like all these people are talking to each other, the
Mm-hmm.
police, the Italian women, they're talking in Italian. She doesn't really understand what is happening. And then she goes outside and she's waiting outside, and, um, you know, Raphael is out there like trying to like comfort her, and maybe the police saw them kissing or
Mm-hmm.
something, and they thought that was weird, that she shouldn't have been acting that way after learning that her friend was dead. And it's like, well, she's only known this woman like a few weeks or something,
Yeah.
like
Well, I
not
guess
very long.
there was this guy Giuliano Mignini, Mignini. He was the lead investigator, prosecutor, and he's the one that saw her outside with Raffaele. And apparently, it was like a nice Italian girl would not be kissing a
Mm-hmm.
boy at this scene. So I think that's the other thing too, is maybe the documentary that I watched didn't really indicate this, but what I wondered was, is this a little bit like if this was in Rome or if this was in Florence, maybe this would be different? Was there a little bit of this more traditional, we all know Italy has always been known to be a bit misogynistic. The stories that I always heard growing up about being in Italy is like men would just follow women around and like
Mm-hmm.
catcall them and that kind of thing. And so I do wonder if, because it really does feel like maybe this is a smaller area and this
Yeah.
one guy has a lot of power, and he basically has very traditional views of women, and he has this opinion of how you should behave during a horrible scene, and she's not doing that, and she's the American. And so it was almost a little bit like he's looking for something out of whack. When it's
Mm-hmm.
almost like, oh, I have to look for clues. I have to look for things that don't feel right. And it's like, well, that doesn't feel right to you. Doesn't mean it's not right or wrong. It just doesn't
Yeah,
feel
I
right
think
to you. And I feel like that guy spearheaded a lot of this.
Oh, yeah. And I think that her being American had a
Yes.
lot, as much to do with it as being a woman or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, but at the same time, he's trying so hard to, make her a suspect. There's
Mm-hmm.
actual real evidence
Yes.
that they discover very early on of this guy who actually they knew this guy, this Rudy Godet.
Mm-hmm.
He hung out with the men that lived in the basement apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So he'd met Meredith before. Like
Mm-hmm.
they had all the guys from downstairs and her roommates and other people had hung out before.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's not a stranger. He's a known burglar. That's
Mm-hmm.
what they called him. There was clearly evidence of, a, a man being involved. Like they found semen in her
Mm-hmm.
body. They found all kinds of bloody fingerprints and footprints that did not match Amanda, that ended up
Mm-hmm.
matching him. But I mean, all this came out at trial. But
Mm-hmm.
even in the initial stages, you've got this other suspect who you just kind of completely ignore.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah. I mean, they immediately start questioning Amanda. And, she is in this interrogation room, no interpreter, no attorney. She's 20 years old.
yeah, they're
And,
speaking to her in Italian.
and yelling at her. You did this,
Yeah.
you did this, you did this, you did this. And at some point, they did this to Raffaele as well. And I think at one point he kind of broke, and it wasn't that he was giving it wasn't that he intended to give a false confession, but it was like they did what they do to people, which is he kind of started to go, well, maybe I didn't see her the whole night. Maybe she did leave for a period of time. I don't know. But suddenly that's all they needed was that the two of them had been separated at some point. So
Mm-hmm.
it's we see this time and time again, which is getting very young people, taking them, putting them in these interrogation rooms. What do you expect?
Yeah, and they make promises to them like, oh, if you just tell us about this, we'll let you go. And yeah, they were grilling her. I mean, she was interrogated.
Yes.
And they're grilling her about what she had done the night before.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, and this plays into this like sexual stuff. She says, well, I spent the night with Raffaele. Okay, what'd you do? Well, we watched a movie. We smoked some pot.
Mm-hmm.
We had sex. It's like, oh God.
Yeah.
Now they're just getting more evidence that
because they're 20-year-olds.
Yeah. Oh, they're
smoking.
So rare.
Ooh, they're smoking weed and having sex.
Weed,
Ooh,
reefer.
Oh, Saturday night.
Well, and here's the thing: their theory from the beginning was that Amanda and Raffaele killed this woman together in some sort of satanic sex ritual.
What was it? It was, and this was this guy, Giuliano's, it was a sex game gone wrong. Like this idea that apparently Meredith maybe was a virgin. I don't know. I don't know what the story is, that apparently like Meredith, and that they wanted to take her sexuality. And
how would he even know that?
I don't know. I mean, the way, but this is the other part of it too, is has anyone stopped to ask themselves about like this guy, Giuliano? Like,
yes,
Giuliano, how did you get from point A to point B this quickly? It's almost like, were you watching a porn on your way here? You pig? This guy, I want to know what happened to him, because this is really, he spearheaded this. He really did. He just decided and everyone went with him. In the documentary that I watched, I was watching some footage of the cops are showing up and they're trying to get into the house. And there's one point where there's this, because this person is wearing gloves and a mask, but and like a, protective gear, but really looks like he just kind of, was a police officer, but not plain clothes. And we see him trying to kick in the door. and he's trying to kick in the door and he like kicks. Hey everyone. So I hope you enjoyed this clip. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is part of our $8 tier. So we have two tiers, a $5 tier and an $8 tier. For the $5 tier, you get all of our shows ad-free, a weekly bonus episode where we talk about various things that are happening in pop culture news. We usually take an angle. Brooke will talk about the legal part. I will talk about the mental health part. And then for our $8 tier, you get all of those things plus this monthly true crime that is only on Patreon, and another monthly Ask Us Anything where you can ask us legal questions, mental health questions, or other questions or things that you would like to hear our thoughts on. So if you enjoyed this, go check us out. Psych Legal Pop Podcast over on Patreon. Thanks so much. Bye.